Good evening. Welcome to You Can't Handle the Truth. Chris, James, and the Smashing Machine.
You can't handle the truth.
I would admit I was probably the more intrigued to see this one because I'm a massive Dwayne Johnson fan, and that will probably lose us followers and subscribers, but I have to admit that before we start. So, the storyline. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will portray former MMA UFC champion Mark Kerr, aka the Smashing Machine, in a story based on true events surrounding Kerr's life and rise through the MMA world, which was unfortunately derailed by his opioid addiction.
Where should we start? So I like The Rock. I'm not into some of his bigger budget films, but I do like The Rock. I thought The Rock's performance of Mark Kerr was the standout of this what you'd get from this movie. Like, he did a good job at portraying him. I felt like I saw some of the clips of Mark Kerr, I thought, like, this is well done. I liked the UFC elements. I liked the fighting elements. The first third of this movie, I thought I was going to be highly recommending it, to be honest. But what let me down in the movie was the relationship side of it, which seemed to he's back and forth with his wife, which is an important part of the story, but it seems to be as much of an important part of the story as the whole rest of it, and it just kind of got into bickering and back and forths and going a bit too far, and it just seemed to be too included for me, and it got a bit annoying. Like, just they're going back, they're arguing just like listening to your neighbours arguing. By the time he was in the second half of the movie, and he's like, "Oh, let's see what's going to happen." So that really took me out of the movie a bit. But like I said, overall, I thought Dwayne Johnson did a really good job of playing the role. I wasn't aware of the story, and he's saying it like how much these people got paid to
Oh, it's crazy
start
that it was
this
so bad.
industry off for what they do in that. But yeah, like I was saying, for me, I probably would have been more interested in watching the guy that did win the tournament, because I didn't know anything about it until Chris brought it to my attention. Because he doesn't actually win at the end of the film, and yeah, so I was a bit up and down throughout the movie, but to be honest, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And given that its box office was not hot, I think a lot of people missed a good performance.
Yeah, I'm
That's me.
going to agree with you. No, so this is the thing. Dwayne Johnson playing Mark Kerr and playing an MMA fighter struggling with an opioid addiction,
Yeah.
and I honestly think it's one of his personal best performances. Might not be his best film, but as a
I
performance
think
for
it's his best
himself,
performance. Yeah.
it was really believable. He got all the little mannerisms right. I, I mean, it might have just been the fact that he had hair and a weird nose, but like I didn't sit there going, "Oh, it's just Dwayne Johnson being
He's not.
Dwayne
Yeah,
Johnson."
considering he's a wrestler as well, because I was so inclined to think I'm just going to see The Rock, but you don't. You see him playing Mark Kerr.
And it was very good. And I've also seen the 2002 The Smashing Machine, which is a documentary with Mark Kerr, and it kind of goes into detail about his opioid addiction and stuff like that, taking the painkillers and everything. And whereas I know what you're saying about the relationship struggle seemed to be a really big part of it, and I think what it was trying to do is explain the personal life issues, how they affected his
Mental state.
performance and
Yeah.
his mental state. And but what it did is it relied too much on that and not on. I mean, the fight scenes in it were actually very realistic,
Yeah.
really realistic, and I really enjoyed that. I thought, because when you get a movie like this, you think, oh, they're just going to Hollywood it and it's going to be ridiculous, and it wasn't. It was, they're going for the shoot. They're trying to get wrapped up. It was right at the start when they were starting to with like jiu-jitsu and wrestling and like boxing and all of that's all coming together into this proper event, and it was really
I didn't realize
interesting.
that, by the way, as well. When he was like, "I'm a wrestler," and he's like a kickboxer or karate, or I was like, "We're going to fight each other." I thought they fought the same division. Like, I thought karate, and
Oh,
boxing
really?
fought. Yeah, I didn't. I've just watched them. It's just like guys were smashing each other up to me, whatever way they're doing it. But I had a bit more appreciation for it, because I was like,
And it's crazy to think that massive tournament, which at the time was the biggest one there was, £200,000, or sorry, $1,000,
yeah,
which is
got
not. I
basically
mean,
buy you a sandwich in London
it just
nowadays.
if they're sorry they're putting your body, like, just look what they was putting their bodies through, and
Yeah.
the everything they were doing for 200,000.
You were saying
Crazy.
it made it look like it was in the 70s. It was set in like the 90s.
The only thing I'd say I really didn't like was the color palette and the fact that it looked older than it should have been. So that the camera style like shot on a
Vintage.
35mm. Yeah, it really it looked like a late 70s 80s film kind of color scheme, color palette, and it was 90s early 2000s. So I just don't think they got that bit right. That's not Dwayne Johnson's fault.
No.
I think Emily Blunt did a good job playing Dawn. Ryan did a great job playing Mark Coleman. That buddy thing was perfect.
They had a good relationship that was much better to watch than the one of his wife, in my opinion, after so much of it, because it does go on. And I thought, oh, they've done it now, it's covered. It was just getting tedious for me. I thought, oh no, now it's moving on. But it just goes back to it. And
it
back
was a
to
lot
it.
of that, and I think they could have done with more of him and
his
Coleman's
addiction. He goes to the facility, and then the next thing he comes out of the facility. Like, I'm not saying they needed to show scenes of him recovering, but they could have explored just a couple of other scenes.
Yeah,
to
show him struggling to get out of it, and yeah, that when he's out and he's like, the 21-day summer and all that, and it's all great, but yeah, there wasn't enough about it. I think they kind of glossed over it a bit, and focused on the kind of rise and fall of the relationship, like her looking after him having to look after her, it all going all over the place, them both being relatively unstable because of each other.
To be fair, if you like a drama, you might enjoy it a bit more than I did.
Yeah, it was a good documentary. I think it glossed over some of the bits, but I do also think that Dwayne Johnson's acting was actually fantastic. For once, he wasn't just playing Dwayne Johnson, and I love his films. I really appreciate that. I am a bit gutted for him because obviously it's not done so well in
On the first opening weekend.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a pain because I would actually like to see him try more roles where he gets to really act and really kind of go into depth into some characters. And I don't want this to be one of those things that puts them off and just goes back to doing the standard.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could say, "Oh yeah, but he was playing a wrestler," but I've actually
so different.
He wasn't. I mean, he was, but he wasn't playing like you see The Rock as like The Rock is one of the biggest wrestling figures of all time. So how it's like when you see Henry Cavill and you're like, oh, all I see is Superman. But you didn't see The Rock. You saw him playing this other guy, and he pulled it off. So
really,
I don't
really
know.
well.
That might be a bit of a weird thing to say, but
okay, let's give it a number. I'm going to jump straight in, and I'm saying 7 out of 10.
7.
7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It was good. I'd watch it again. The acting really is the thing that caught me off guard. I didn't expect the acting to be so good, and I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, I liked the film, but it didn't blow me away or anything. But I really thought The Rock put in a performance here, so I would go for a 6.9. So we'll call it 7 between the two of us. Just give it a 7. I was going to say as well that these Rotten Tomato scores and IMDb scores and these other reviewers, they're handing out awards left, right, and centre. So you want to keep it real on this channel, yeah.
That's a good point.
But I think they're just trying to promote films a lot of the time because every film I see on there is like 80%, 100% this week. It's like,
this film's great, and it's not great. A lot of these films are crap.
We're trying to be fair.
It's actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
it's not groundbreaking, but it's pretty decent, and his acting is spot on.
Okay,
done. 7. Give it a watch.
Until next week.
Well, that's recommended, isn't it? 7.
It's recommended.
See.